What I want to do is I want to answer a question which I asked this weekend. I'm aware of different ways to leave behind these physical realms. So let's start mentioning them. The first one is dreams. The second one is shamanic journeying, my old friend. The third one is out-of-body experiences, which is also called astral travelling, which is also called astral projection. And the fourth one is imbibing some kind of a power plant and having some kind of an experience with a plant. And the fifth one would be taking some kind of a substance like LSD. So there's 5 ways you can leave behind physical realms and go into other realms. And this is the question that's been bothering me and perplexing me. Are you going to different places? Are these really very, very different, or is it all the same? And I asked the advice of the guy who was running the workshop that I was at last weekend, Todd Rout, and this is what he said to me. He said to me, it's all the same. There are different roads in there, but it's all the same. Each experience is different. And I found that very helpful advice. So it's horses for courses which method you might prefer for yourself. In the past, what I've done is I've preferred to people the shamanic cosmology. And shamanic cosmology is very, very simple, which is I like it. It's lower world, middle world, upper world. I've got a completely different cosmology to show you now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can get this on the screen. So we might need to do a little bit of focusing. If you need me to move that at all in any direction, I'll move it. So this is another map. There are so many maps we can use. And this map comes from the out-of-body experiences tradition. And the title of this map is the multidimensional universe. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to pop it down and talk about it. The multidimensional universe. This is another belief system I'm about to shatter, because you see, the way I've been brought up all my life, I've been led to believe this is where I am, and there's these other realms out there, and I can go to those realms. Let's turn it upside down. Actually, this is not where I am at all. What happens is, every night I go to bed and I fall asleep and I go back home, and I'm home all night and I have my dreams, and then in the morning I leave my home, and when I wake up I leave my home and I come here, because this is not home, this is where we visit. And I've known this intuitively all my life, because I used to have this pervasive feeling in my life, which is I never really felt at home anywhere on the earth, and I couldn't understand why that was. And then last weekend I attended a workshop with about 14 other people, and what was interesting, listening to each person speak, they all had exactly the same experience. They all felt they didn't really belong here. They all felt this wasn't their home. Now that's nothing to be sad about, actually. All they were doing is they were saying that they'd actually started to wake up to how things really are. So it's the opposite from what we believe. The way around it really is our home is out there, and our home is where our higher self is, and our higher self is eternal, transpersonal and out there. And I'm going to start to speak to you about where our higher self resides. So I'm going to describe it to planes. So this plane that we're visiting is called the Earth plane, or the physical plane. And what we have on this plane is we have the planet Earth, all the planets of the solar system, the sun, the other stars in the sky, all the stars in the galaxy. This is all the physical plane. This is where we inhabit on a daily basis. We visit this. And at night, when we go outside, we can see the millions of stars in the sky. Yeah? So we visit this place. When we go to bed at night, we leave this place. Our consciousness leaves this place. The body lies on in the bed, but our consciousness leaves it behind, and it travels through a series of realms. And I'm going to describe these the way that Todd described them, which is very much the opposite of the way they're normally described. So we're going to say the physical plane is up here. The very next realm beyond the physical plane is called the first non-physical plane. The first non-physical plane is inhabited by ghosts. Now, I've already spoken about death and dying, and there's interesting stuff to look at in terms of that. So the important point about ghosts is human beings that leave the physical plane, and because of their very limiting belief systems, and because of the terrible deforestation on this planet, and because of the lack of people to help them, they get stuck in the first non-physical plane, and they become ghosts. Now, the first non-physical plane is also the realm of all the fairy stories and the fairy tales. The Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, all the fairy tales you ever read, they all exist in the realms of the first non-physical plane. So let me explain. In this reality here, Santa Claus is a fairy tale. In other words, if I travel to the North Pole, there is no Santa. There's no Santa in Lapland making toys. However, if I was to astrally travel, out of the body experience, shamanic journey, dream, lucid dream, and leave behind the physical plane and go to the first non-physical, I will encounter Santa, the Tooth Fairy, all the fairy stories you've ever thought of, Rumpelstiltskin, yes, Rapunzel, all of those stories, the Three Little Pigs, they all exist, yes, get it, they actually exist on the first non-physical plane. So people who are new to this world, what they might do is they might take their very first steps to the first non-physical plane. They could encounter ghosts, that might be a bit disquieting, or they might encounter lots of fairy tales. Okay, supposing they go further still, the next realm they're going to go to is what we call the astral realms. Now, the astral realms are vast, unimaginably vast, and people who study esoteric practices, they tend to divide the astral realms into two levels. They talk about the lower astral and the upper astral. And yes, bear with me, and I'm doing this all the opposite way around from what you've seen it before, but I'm putting the fully physical up here, then the first non-physical, then we're in the astral. So we've got the lower astral realms. The lower astral realms are the inhabitants of entities, demons, devils, and yes, the hell realms. So if someone does out-of-body experience or lucid dream and they encounter all sorts of dodgy, horrible entities, or if a shaman goes on his travels to the middle world to help a client who's infested with entities, and he finds himself in the lower astral realms, he's going to encounter all sorts of hideous beings. And there's something he or she needs to remember. No matter how frightening they are, there's something that you've got that they haven't got. You've got a physical body, which means you've got a power that they will never have. They don't have that power. They don't have the power to be able to do this. Demons can't do this. They can whisper in your ear, they can say, "Ooh, you're horrible, ooh, go and kill yourself." They can do that, but actually they can't pick up the knife and do this. They can't do it because they haven't got physical bodies. It's really important, if you do any out-of-body work or dreaming work or shamanic traveling work, to realize this. You're the ones with the power. All they can do is whisper in your ear. And if you're open enough and gullible enough to believe what they say, and you're in those lower astral hell realms, then those things will start to manifest. But you can just go to it all, actually, because you're the ones with the power. So do remember that. If you find yourself stuck in the hell realms, use Jürgen's tip, chant. Because you talk about this situation, the person is in a really dodgy realm with lots of negative hostile entities, and he doesn't want to be there. So what do you do about it? Head towards the light. That's very sound advice. I'm going to give even more specific advice, which comes from a chap called Jürgen Ziewer, and what he recommends is that you do this. In your dream, begin to chant. You could chant anything you like. You could chant, "I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you." You could chant the old Hindu one, Aum. You could chant the name of the divine that Jonathan Goldman recommends, which is You could chant the Nishinrin Shoshu Buddhist chant, Nam-myo Renge-kyo, Nam-myo Renge-kyo. You could chant any chant you make up. Baked beans, baked beans, baked beans, whatever you like. It doesn't matter what it is actually for the purpose of this, but what you do is you find something that attracts you and you sound that sound. By doing that, what Jürgen discovers, you automatically raise your vibration, and raising your vibration takes you out of that realm. And instantly what's going to happen is you are going to shift out of the hell realms into the next level, And the next level are called the heavenly realms.